welcome to my corner. Today we are going to discuss on the Australian Gold Tinted Sunscreen. This video might be weirdly formatted and stuff, but sorry. It's due to the time and everything else. I was very busy, but I hope you will enjoy this review. And I am no dermatologist, no specialist, any of that sort. I am just a regular customer who does binge watch and learn from Dr.Dray, Cassandra, and Hiram, and many other creators here on YouTube. So these are only my opinions as a customer, and we will go into it and see what it's gonna be. I am basically reviewing both the light skinned and the medium skin, and I tell you what I use as a medium skinned person. Let's go. Again, let's see what kind of skin type would fit with this sunscreen. I do not recommend to someone who has normal to dry skin whatsoever with this. I am a person who has oily skin. I live in a desert, hot climate, so my skin could really use a very mattifying sunscreen. It does feel a little bit dry around the eyes. I will discuss that later within this video. So if you're someone who has oily skin, lives in the desert, this will be worth your bargain. But for someone, probably if you guys live in a humid climate, will work for you absolutely. Over here has been actually raining for the past 3 days and it's quite humid, and I had no budge whatsoever with this sunscreen. But when you are gonna be applying around the eyes, before you apply the sunscreen, I recommend putting a very hydrating eye cream underneath, or even a hydrating primer. I usually use the e.l.f.'s Poreless Putty Primer around my eyes and let it sit. And then after that, 30 minutes later, until my skincare is soaked into my skin, I put this on and I have no issues around my eyes or even gain any sort of dryness around it or discomfort. Number one, let's discuss the price. It is $15 for this 3 fluid ounce sunscreen, which is a total bargain, I would say. It has a great amount of product. A lot of mineral, or the best mineral sunscreens out there in the market is around $22, and it's not even 3 fluid ounces. It's either 1 to 2 fluid ounces for $22 to maybe $25. So I would say this is going to be worth a bargain. And let us continue with the review. Okay, so coverage of this sunscreen is actually pretty good. Right now I'm discussing having breakouts. Right now I do have a filter on. I'm gonna show some some shots I just took with the sunscreen. I really do enjoy this. It's a medium coverage sunscreen that does help you with your discoloration in your skin, whether it's dark spots, scarring, or fresh underneath red pimples. It does really help with that. And I'm afraid if you reapply it, it kind of will look cakey. I would say only if you're in a dry desert area, but it could change when you're in a humid area. Now we get into the point why I prefer the fair to light and the medium to tan. So the medium to tan I'm going to show you right here. It's actually very pink on the skin. So it looks very normal. You can see my filter because I'm too lazy to do makeup. But every time I take off this filter, be right back. So even despite me taking off the filter off of the video, you could still see no apparent difference with the sunscreen. but in person it is very, very pink. Very, very pink, very red. And yeah, it just makes me look like a Oompa Loompa. So yeah, that's basically why I don't use the medium coverage. And you're like, okay, so why not mix these two together? Because they both have a weird pink red undertone. And this actually is too dark for someone who is fair or too light. So for me, I actually test it out randomly and it fits perfectly on my skin. Not perfectly, but more suitable on this skin. So I like the fair and light just way much better because it's less detectable than this one. Okay, if you hear a bird in the background, I am very sorry, but how I deal with a little bit of the undertone or correction of the skin, I use a little bit of this. I just put tiny little dots and just kind of blend it either with a sponge, which I do not recommend because since it's so light and watery, the product is going to be sucked into the sponge. So I prefer you do it either with your hands or even a brush. But the brush, because of the sunscreen, it feels like it's dragging dragging the facial brush around your face. So I recommend just using your hands. And if you want to blend it a little bit more, you can go with a little bit of a damp sponge. And then you can just powder your face with just regular mineral powder or SPF powder.
These Dermablend Flawless Creator multi-use liquid pigments. I was always resistant to use these. I was always afraid that using pigment drops and adding pigment to sunscreen might affect how the sunscreen film forming agent set up and compromise the efficacy of the sunscreen in terms of protection. But Dermablend has shown me their studies, industry studies that they performed, doing SPF testing, the MED testing to determine SPF on sunscreens before and after using these. And the SPF is not compromised with these. However, they show that it enhances the visible light protection of the sunscreen. So these are a really nice option. And you only need actually a few drops to tint a lot of sunscreen.